Welcome back, everyone, to the Creator Spotlight here on the Spotlight. There he is. He popped out of screen for a second. He's back in. Speedball Mike Bailey is here with us. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I had a day off yesterday, despite being on the road and traveling for like 15 days straight. I'm not home, though. I am currently in San Francisco in a hotel room where I'll be staying for the next few days until my seminar on Thursday and then show on Friday. And then I just keep going after that.
Man, you 100% deserve a day off because you did about 15 matches at WrestleMania weekend. And then, like a madman, you turn around the next week and you're wrestling Minoru Suzuki. Like, what?
Hold on now. It was 9 in 3 days. You don't have to exaggerate and say 15. I feel like 9 in 3 days is enough. We don't need to add anything extra. But yeah, so those 9 matches were in Dallas, Texas, and then we drove up. Veda and we drove down together from Texas. Then we drove up to Pittsburgh. Then I wrestled for Enjoy in Pittsburgh, and then we flew to San Francisco where I wrestled Minoru Suzuki, and that's my last 2 weekends.
Madman. Been so much fun as a fan watching all this, man. Like the whole, yeah, for sure. The whole collective week, all the stuff you got going on in Impact Wrestling. Jeremy, where do you want to start with this? Because we'll kind of go by what you want to go with.
Let's start with the match with Alex Shelley at Impact Multiverse of Matches. And, how are you feeling about that match? And what do you think of that overall? Because I know there was a lot of lists that came out, and like 3 of your matches made the top 5. And I know Alex Shelley, the match with Alex Shelley was up there as well.
That's right. I had my very own section in the server thing where you had like AEW, Ring of Honor, Speedball, and so that was pretty neat to see. But so I was going so hard for those 3 days, just taking it match by match, trying to get from venue to venue, just completely on autopilot, fully focused on whichever match I had next. It took me a few days after the fact to think about it and, look at some photos and watch the match back and go, man, I wrestled Alex Shelley, which is obviously someone that I've been following their career and paying attention to for the better part of the last 20 years or so. And to finally get a solid singles match on a huge platform with him was absolutely amazing. And that is truly a good way to describe the whole experience of being back in the US and wrestling for Impact for me. It's getting to do all those things that I've been wanting to do for so long. And I'm glad it's working out so well for now.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of, you got some big stuff coming up with Impact Wrestling. You've really been highlighted heavily since joining the promotion. Like, you came in, you pinned Ace Austin right away once joining Impact Wrestling. Now we're getting to a point where we got a big triple threat X Division match coming up. You, Trey Miguel, and Ace Austin. How are you preparing for this? And how excited are you to mix it up with these two guys? Because that's so much talent, the 3 of you in the ring together.
It absolutely is. The X Division is so stacked right now, and I feel like it's me, Ace, and Trey being in the match it's us, but it could be anyone right now because that division is so stacked. There's a lot going into this match. Ace and I have a very complicated relationship, so I expect that to play out. And Trey is, of course, on top of his game and absolutely amazing and just a world-class performer. But how I've been preparing, I've had 11 matches in the past 2 weeks. And, I always feel like whenever I have a weekend and shows like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the first one is always my worst match. Because even though I've only had four days off maybe, it just takes me that one match to fully get back into it. And then once I've done that first one, I am in the zone for Saturday and Sunday. But I've been wrestling so much recently, and knock on wood, I am healthy and injury-free. So I feel like I am fully prepared, completely in my zone. And just, this is the best possible preparation I could have for one of the biggest opportunity of my career so far. And also, before Rebellion on the 23rd, I'll be wrestling Moose for the Impact World Championship at Revolver. So that is a big opportunity. I could be coming into this X Division title match with the Impact World Championship, and wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't even have to do option C, would just be right on top of things. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot, and it's a lot to focus on. But I do believe that that X Division World Title match will be my greatest showing by that.
You can do the reverse option C, become the world champion and then become the X Division champion afterwards and have both the belts.
I can do it all, yeah. The world is my oyster.
Do you feel like there's any more pressure, or how do you feel about the relationship with Impact, that they trust you so much with all of these opportunities? That you're wrestling all these matches WrestleMania weekend. You're about to face Moose for the Impact title on a company that's not Impact, and you're right in there in the X Division. I mean, you just signed with them at the start of the year, and you're already having these big matches, big opportunities. Like, what's the relationship like and the trust level there with you and Impact?
I feel like it's a very fair relationship. I mean, they like I don't think there's any sort of like force behind them. They could put me in any position and I would still stand out in the same way I am doing right now. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunities I'm given, but I can't imagine like where they could possibly put me, who they would possibly have me wrestle, that it wouldn't be a notable performance. Because again, the Impact roster is so stacked and there's so much happening right now. And I am extremely confident in my ability to deliver consistently exciting performances. So, I mean, I think it's a mutually beneficial relationship. I feel like it's only fair, and I feel like I will keep giving it my all.
Yeah, and one thing that I really like about you is kind of the consistency. Like when you see you on Impact, it's like the same Speedball that we see everywhere else. And you're such an exciting guy to watch. Like I loved your match with Ninja Mac, for instance. Like that was like all over the place, some stuff I've never seen before. Your match against Cole Radrick at Unsanctioned Pro during the Collective was my favorite match of the whole Collective weekend. All 12 shows. That was my. You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was incredible stuff. I wanted to ask you it's a two-part question. First part, why did you choose Brass Monkey for your entrance music? Because I think that's a great theme song. And also, how did you come up with the idea to kick the fans' hands when they go for high fives? I think that's really cool also.
Okay, so those are very good questions. So the Brass Monkey thing, I didn't have a theme song at the time, and the person that was doing the music at C4 Wrestling, which is where I started using it, was kind of like, "What's your theme song?" I was like, "I don't know, just pick something for me." And so he picked Brass Monkey, which I love because it does not sound like a professional wrestling theme song at all. It doesn't have that big like kicks in and gets the energy going with some big, drums and guitar. No, it's very like chill in a funky way, which I really feel is different, which is how I try to make my wrestling feel. I don't want to have, I bring a unique skill set to professional wrestling, and I want to highlight that. And then the kicking the hands and stuff is more of a practical thing than you would imagine. So something I learned very early on in my life as a 12-year-old doing Taekwondo competitions is that warming up is important, but warming up too much is counterproductive. And I have been burned one too many times by warming up, getting ready to go, breaking a sweat, feeling loose, being ready for the match, and then hearing the announcer on the mic go, "And now time for the ruffle," and then having to wait another 10 minutes and then cooling down before going out and having to warm up again. So now what I try to do is warm up as close to my match as possible, and oftentimes that is during my entrance. So trying to throw as many kicks as possible within that very short period of time is tantamount to me being ready to wrestle when the bell rings.
Mentioning your kicking style, and one way that stood out was at Bloodsport against Yoya Umura, and it was very much a striker versus grappler battle there. Like, what kind of influences do you have with the kicking style? And then putting that match together, being a blood sport where your kicking can stand out, going against a grappler like Yumura?
Yeah, so I started doing Taekwondo, which is a striking-based martial art, mostly kicks, when I was 11 years old, and I've since done boxing. While I've learned a lot of grappling through professional wrestling and dabble here and there, my striking is where I'm best. I mean, if you've seen any of my matches, it stands out quite a lot. And I think that the whole blood, typically from those shoot style tournaments, and I've been part of Ambition in WWE, which is also shoot style, and it's very grappling heavy. Of course, people are professional wrestlers; they're used to grappling, and to really get to bring that striking out and focus on that aspect really makes me stand out, because there's not a lot of people that can do it quite like I can. I remember one of my favorite shoot style matches I ever had was me versus Axel Didier Jr., who was known as Marcel Barthel for a while, who is now known as...
Oh, they just changed his name on Friday.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Ludwig.
Ludwig.
Yes, correct.
Ludwig.
Is it Ludwig?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ludwig.
Jensen.
Yeah.
The non-WWE fan knows.
I know. I watched SmackDown this week. Yeah, I watched SmackDown this week. Yes.
Regardless, so he was an amateur boxer as well. So we got to basically just open hand slap box for an entire fight. And that really stood out because, again, the rest of the Ambition tournament was just grappling. But that was one of the most fun matches I've ever had, and I was glad I was able to recreate that with Yuya, who is a Greco-Roman wrestler, and really try to keep him at bay with the kicks, and then have him catch me with the grappling. I thought made for a really fun mix of styles.
Well, and you do more than just kicks. I mean, you do so much different stuff, like in your matches. You stylistically, you're kind of all over the place, which I think is really entertaining as a fan. How did you come up with your finishing moves, the Ultimate Weapon and the Flamingo Driver? Because I think they're both badass finishers, and I want to know why you have chosen those moves to use.
Okay, so that's a great question, and I'll be doing... This is something I cover extensively in seminars, but how to find a finisher. So the Shooting Star Knees started with me probably like 10 years ago, messing up a standing backflip 450. So I stand up, do a backflip, and land with my back on the guy, right? But I messed it up, and I landed with my knees on the guy. And then I asked him after the match, "Oh no, I messed that up and landed with my knees on you. How did that feel?" And he was like, "Oh, it was okay." I'm like, "Okay, maybe it was cool. Maybe I, keep doing that." And then I was using a Phoenix Splash as my first ever finisher, but doing it so often it started to be a lot of pressure on my wrist. So I started using a Shooting Star Press, which is like less impact on the rotation. But then after a while, like I didn't want to use the press so much. I wanted to use it from a different position. So I started doing a Shooting Star Press to the back of the person. And then I thought, why don't I mix the two a little bit? And, went from the backflip knees to the Shooting Star to the back to doing the knees to the back. And then, that being the coolest thing I did had to be my finishing move. The Flamingo Driver came with me putting my fiance Veda Scott in just weird submissions to hang around, and I just sat her up on the top rope and locked her up, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." And I was doing it at a Rev Pro show where Colt Cabana was just watching as we were messing around, and he said, "Oh, Flamingo Driver," because the legs are crossed in the back. So Colt Cabana named that move, but the real reason why anything of mine becomes a finisher is because it's cooler than anything else that I do. So it works its way up the chain and becomes a finisher. Which I think the mistake that a lot of pro wrestlers make is deciding that a move is going to be their finisher because of a pun or whatever, or when really a move should be used as your finishing move. One, because it's the biggest thing to do, and because it works well in that position.
A stand-up match from WrestleCon or from WrestleMania weekend was at WrestleCon against Bandito, where you guys took home the bonus money, and fans are literally throwing money at you guys at the end of the match. Like, how does that make you feel when the fans are just throwing money at you guys after the match is over?
Fantastic, of course. Bandito and I are now 3 for 3 in getting money thrown in the ring after our matches. The first one was in Germany, then at the main event of Bola Night 1 at PWG, and now again at WrestleCon, which they threw the money, and then we won that bonus as voted by fans match of the night, $5,000, which of course feels fantastic, especially given that I have a wedding, planning a wedding, so the money is going to go to that, and it's going to be very helpful. So I'm extremely grateful for that. But yeah, no, Bandito is definitely one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. And anytime we get in the ring together, we make fireworks, and it's fantastic. And I'm glad that everyone else enjoys me wrestling Bandito as much as I enjoy wrestling Bandito.
Well, you mentioned you got a wedding coming up, and you mentioned her a little earlier. What's it like having Beta around? Like, how much does that help with her support? And I know you're at a lot of the same shows and stuff as well.
Yes, couldn't do this. I actually could not, due to mostly necessity. Of course, in the majority of our relationship, they lived in the U.S. and I could not come to the U.S., so we had to sort of structure our career and tours around being able to be together. Whether that was, us setting up a tour together in Europe or in Japan, or having them come to Canada and wrestling there. It's, of course, logistics-wise has been extremely helpful, as well as being able to bounce ideas of each other for professional wrestling. This is a long one, so I'm hoping I won't eat up all the time. But I think coaching in professional wrestling is something that's very lacking. You have trainers, but there are very few people that actually get follow-up by who trained them throughout their career, and where you get advice from people that know and understand you and try to push you in the right direction and have the same view of wrestling that you do. I was very lucky. My older brother wrestled as well, and we had that earlier. And I was able to, once he stopped wrestling, I was able to keep that relationship going with Veda. And we're always very honest and trusting in our feedback to one another and ideas of what to do with our career and what we should do and in which direction we could taste things, and in terms of matches, what worked and what didn't. And now that Bandito match, Veda was doing commentary for the WrestleCon shows, as well as 8 other shows during that whole weekend. And now having their voice on my matches and having Veda tell my story as I'm wrestling just makes me so much more motivated, because I know that the match is just going to be made so much better. Because again, they're an incredibly passionate and dedicated commentator, and they will make every show that has their voice even better. But to have them on my matches, given the close relationship that we have in life and also in professional wrestling, just makes everything so much better.
Fans, you guys can check out Speedball Mike Bailey Thursdays, Impact, 8 o'clock on Access, and then through Impact on YouTube as well. He's challenging for the X Division title, Impact Rebellion, on April 23rd. Speedball, where can the fans find you at?
I'm at Speedball Bailey on Twitter and Instagram. I am on twitch.tv/Speedball Bailey, where I stream and watch the best professional wrestling matches that I can find on the internet. I have a vlog on my YouTube, just Speedball Mike Bailey on YouTube. But the best thing you can do if you would like to support me is go on YouTube, go on Impact's YouTube, watch that match I had with Alex Shelley. It's there, it's free. You can go watch it right now. And if you do like it, if you enjoyed the match, if you thought it lived up to the expectations, then tell your friends, share it, make a tweet, make a Facebook post with the link, and tell people, hey, this match was really good. It's out for free, and you can go and watch it.
I do encourage everyone to check out Speedball on Twitch when you guys are watching matches and talking about them. It's really fun. Anytime I have time and I see you guys are streaming, I pop on there, and I enjoy listening to you talk.
Yes, the best part is always when people come in with their own matches and are like, hey, well, can you watch my match? That is always the best, and we have a lot of fun.
You know what? I've actually met fans that discovered you through Twitch before they'd ever seen you wrestle before, and then they became fans of you after. So I think that's really cool too. That the gaming world, people that don't even watch you wrestle, become fans of your wrestling through Twitch. That's really cool too. So
yes, absolutely. I started Twitch during the pandemic when I just was at home and wanted to, reconnect with the wrestling community. But getting to go on shows and then go on Twitch and talk about those matches and talk about the matches that happened in the weekend has just been the greatest time. I've been off for the last week because I've been traveling so much, but I really miss it, and I'm hoping to get back on it as soon as I can.
Well, you deserve a break after everything you've done over the past 10 days.
I don't want a break. I wish I had more time.
Speedball, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you again. Again, Impact Rebellion, April 23rd, X Division Championship, Speedball, Ace Austin, Trey Miguel. Thank you, Speedball. We'll be right back here on the spot.